Eddie and I have decided to do this week's episode at Ulele's. There's nothing wrong with Dios. We love Dios. We still love Dios, but we love Ulele's as well. So we've got Mike again. He's our regular co-host. I guess he's the third guest.
It's like Cheers. Everybody knows everybody.
Right?
And then we've got Marcos.
And then, of course, Eddie, co-host, myself, co-host. But then today we've got Marcos, right? Marcos, what's your last name?
Rivera.
Okay. I was talking to Marcos beforehand. And Marcos, what do you do for a living?
So I am Director of Public Affairs at Omni Public.
Okay, very nice.
PR firm.
So recently, though, you worked with a campaign?
Yeah, we assisted. We assisted with the Jane Castro campaign. We also assisted with Janet Cruz campaign prior to that for Senator. And a lot of assisting on the back end to a lot of other things that, just trying to stay in the background, let people shine, and just move all the pawns back and forth.
Very interesting. Now, how did you get involved in that?
Back in 2012, I started doing a lot of public speaking with the Mitt Romney campaign.
Oh, really?
And from there, it just ended up, young Hispanic entrepreneur. They started pulling me into everything they could. Because it was the image they wanted to portray. So
it's awesome, man.
Well, and he also does other things like with the transportation, and there's other groups. And you want to talk to us about the...
Yeah, so we're also associated with TBMO, Tampa Bay Mobility Alliance, which is an advocacy group that brings together all three counties, Hillsborough, Pasco, and Pinellas, and advocates for transportation reform.
Okay. That's great. But before I forget, though, I know that Eddie probably had more questions, but before we started, you mentioned that you could do things that a lobbyist couldn't do. Now, explain that if you're allowed to discuss that. What is that? What is it that a lobbyist? First of all, what are they allowed to do? And second, what is it that they're not allowed to do? And how are you different from that?
Well, to keep it extremely simple, not get into too many details, lobbyists can't participate in giving people gifts. They can't participate in taking people out for lunch. I am at a much lower level. I can befriend anyone. I can speak with anyone. I can bring anyone coffee. I can hang out with anyone. At the same time, I can still interact with lobbyists. So I like to call myself a lobbying liaison. So, I get to communicate with lobbyists, communicate with... A lot of times, when a lobbyist wants to directly communicate something to a politician, and the politician wants to directly communicate something to the lobbyist, but they don't really want to... They don't know if they're going to clash. They don't know if they're on the same platform. They don't know if it's going to be a good mixture of fluids during that meeting.
Right.
They approach me and ask me for opinions. So they approach me and ask me for opinions. Hey, do you know this politician? Okay, what do you think they'd say about this? And they're like, no, they would hate it. Don't even bother. Or vice versa. Hey, this company or that company. It's like, no, they're not with it at all. In fact, they don't like you as a candidate. They don't want to deal with you. Because before you approach somebody, you want to know.
Right.
If you're a hardcore Democrat, liberal, socially and fiscally, and you want to approach a business opportunity with a straight Trump supporter, that conversation may not go as well as you think it may. Just because you both like money, it doesn't mean that they won't work with you necessarily. Because if you guys have...
You're preheating the oven, is that kind of what you're saying?
Preheating the oven, I like that. I've never heard that before, but I like that.
So how does someone... Let me ask you this. How does somebody get in contact with Marcos if that's what they want to do? If they're interested in going across the aisle, you can talk to somebody that normally they wouldn't, and they want to see, what type of reception they would get. How do they find you? How are you out there? All that.
Well, our company, omnipublic.global, is the website. Right now we're working in LA, we're working in New York, we're working here. We've got some stuff going on in DC. We're always open to talk to people. I mean, it's not always, give me my retainer fee so I can start talking to you. We want to feel you out also and see if you match. Sometimes people want to get into an industry that they have no idea what's really happening inside. Nobody knows what's happening inside unless you're the spoon.
Yeah.
So people say, I would love to get involved in transportation, or I'd love to get involved in reform, or I'd love to get involved with Latino affairs. But if you don't understand how Venezuelans are reacting to Venezuela, because you hear Americans how we react to Venezuela, it's this and that, but why not talk to a group of people that's there on a weekly trying to get food there through Colombia and black market it into their families. If you know how that's working, I have to be involved in all that stuff because one of the people that we're helping right now is Lester Toledo. He's one of the right-hand people for Guaidó, the new President Guaidó in Venezuela. And the things they tell you are it's from ground zero. They'll be texting you standing in the middle of a riot in Venezuela while people are being bum rushed by the military. And what they're telling you is probably a little more in depth than what CNN is dropping on you.
Well, the news is filtered. We know that.
Yeah, right. It's filtered.
And we've done a lot of interviews, and they only take like 1 second or 5 seconds, and you're like, whole conversation about this.
You have to be 100% in control of what you're saying because that 2% you said at the wrong time. Being attorneys, using things out of context can get you in big trouble, and they do it. The moment you agree to sit down, they can do it.
Now, specifically, how did you help Jane Castro with the campaigns? How does that differ from lobbying, for example? Just what did you do for the campaign?
So that one is really Latino. All the Latino outreach, bringing people to her, helping her filter, helping her campaign. Tim Wagner, specifically the campaign manager, helping him decipher who are the people that you can trust and who are the people that you can't trust.
Interesting.
A lot of people come out and go, I'm the director of, they have the largest pin in Tampa that says, I'm the director of the manager of the CEO, and you're going, of what? I've never heard of that before. And, they come in, I'm from Orlando, we're from the advocacy group, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I got to call Orlando, one of my buddies there, and they're like, keep that guy, we want nothing to do with him. And he probably shouldn't be interacting with this candidate because in the long run he's going to make her look bad, not good.
Interesting.
So almost like a vetting process.
It is. It really is. So, and I enjoy doing it. I'm from Brooklyn, so I like, taking on the tough tasks.
But not only Brooklyn, but Puerto Rican, right?
Yeah, Puerto Rican from Brooklyn, yeah.
Right. You were born in Puerto Rico?
And I'm a trumpet player, so.
And a trumpet player.
Very talented.
You were born in Puerto Rico, right?
Yeah, I was born in Puerto Rico, raised half New York, half Puerto Rico. Okay. And then I came to Tampa, and I decided to stay.
When did you come to Tampa?
03.
And what was the purpose? What brought you to Tampa? How did that work out?
It's really interesting. So I came here to try out with the Phillies.
Really?
When I was in 1920, I was playing baseball. And I said, listen, I'm just trying out in New York is one thing. When it's like 35 degrees outside, you don't perform as well as you think you would.
Were you a catcher?
No, pitcher. I was pitcher in right field.
Oh, wow.
And I said, you know what? I know someone in Tampa. My ex-brother-in-law lived here. I said, I'll stay with him. I'll do the tryouts. If I don't make it, because I already got news that there were people being funneled that were family members to the people in the team, so they're probably going to get top pick anyway. So I said, it doesn't matter. Even if I don't make it, I'll just stay in Tampa. Because it's much hotter than New York. I just don't want to do that anymore. So.
See, you tried, and that's been a recurring theme every time we interview people, is that you're chasing your dreams. I like the fact that you're Latino. That didn't stop you. But you saw a dream, you had a vision, and you went for it, Now, in the end, the baseball didn't happen. I take it, or it didn't work out. But no regrets, though, right?
Yeah, no regrets.
Because you tried it, as opposed to saying, God, I wish I had done it. You did it.
You live up with regrets,
And for whatever reason, it didn't happen, but now you're here doing something else. So one door was closed, and now another door is open, man.
And, they're not necessarily failures. It's like, on any given day in American Idol, 3 guests love you. The next day they woke up on the wrong side of the bed. They don't quite like you. So sometimes not you, it's the environment. But you learning that you have to be at 110% at every moment, because people are looking at you all the time. So I realized that, I came into a little bit of a mafia environment with the baseball team. No matter how good you were, how well you performed, if you weren't the nephew of this guy or the cousin of this guy or with this academy, you weren't going to get picked. So it taught me a lot, just in life in general, that it's about who you associate with and how you, not what you bring to the table, but who you bring to the table behind you.
Wow, that's
It's
interesting.
funny. I used to play baseball when I was younger, and I used to like baseball. And then I was with the Mets, loved it, just Little League, right? And then I was with the Pirates, and the coach, his son was on the team, and the guy was the coach. So the son and the friends all got the premium positions, and they're like, I used to play shortstop and catcher, and they're like, now go outfield. I'm like, seriously?
Right.
I hated baseball after that. I literally would let the ball go, and I would watch like, that sucks. And I would walk slowly. I'm like, the piss them off. Because I'm like, this guy, you know?
Yeah.
But so I understand. I can relate to that.
My brother, so my little brother in Puerto Rico, he was by far they had the whole scouting season where all the scouts came out, and the scouts are going up to the different academies and going, where's the report on this kid? And they were like, oh no, there's no report. And they never report. My brother's the best shortstop in Puerto Rico for like 5 years in a row as a teenager. He ended up getting signed, but in a much lower draft and a lot less money than what he deserved. And then while on the team, the first round draft pick that got $4 million was also a shortstop. And then my brother was the backup shortstop. And this guy was, you may have even heard of him, Matt Bush. He was on drugs. He went through $4 million. He got a DUI. He ran over a motorcyclist here in Florida. I mean, trouble child. And my brother was better than him, but because they invested $4 million into him, they needed to continue. You know, they say you don't have to continue making the mistake you made yesterday.
Interesting.
But no, they put their leg in. They're like, oh, we paid $4 million. We have to save our name by getting him somewhere.
Wow,
it's a huge investment.
Now, but you're now going back to the PR side. Now you're back with the Jane Castor, right? But now PR.
Yeah, so right now, so Jane Castor's setting up. We have no association whatsoever now.
Okay.
So now it's reset. You know what I mean?
Okay.
We win, yay, hugs and kisses, and then she goes back to work, and now I go do what I have to do.
Okay.
But you know, again, we're still working out the kinks and facilitating communication with the community, and still filtering people before they go there, and you know, Ashley Bowman, who's the communications person for the city, she was for Buckhorn, she still is for Jane. Mediating the communication between them and Univision, Telemundo, all the Latino television.
Okay.
You know, it's funny because Univision, Telemundo are like, oh, they need to engage more with Latinos. But then Ashley's on the other side telling me, hey, Telemundo needs to engage more.
Right,
we would love to do
right.
more with them. So it's like, wait, they're both saying they want to engage with each other more.
So why is it not happening?
Why is it not happening?
Yeah,
There's something there, you know?
Okay.
Got to figure that one out.
Now, how many in your firm? Just 2 people? Or how many?
No, we have right now 7 altogether.
7. It's awesome. Are they all Latino or is it just diverse?
It's a mix. It's a mix.
Marcos, you were saying you have offices in LA, in DC, right? And then here?
And then New York. Yeah, in New York. So, so New York is starting out.
Okay.
LA, we have an office there. DC is also worked remotely. So it's kind of like what you were saying before, New York DC connection.
Right.
It's right next to each other, so it's it's a no-brainer. But our office here, our central office is here in Tampa. We're based out of Tampa, so very, very nice.
So who started the company?
Cesar Hernandez.
Caesar did.
So
I know Caesar, don't
Yeah, you probably know Caesar.
I know Caesar, yeah.
So
Okay.
Caesar's everywhere. He is the Brown graduate.
So we gotta bring Caesar on.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got to bring Caesar on.
Maybe bring in someone from Telemundo too, or Univision, have them here. You know, we can promote them. You know, they've helped us a lot, so why not? You know.
And he has a lot of connections. Well, we do too, but he has a lot of connections with the media.
Okay.
Yeah. They've all asked for stories at some point.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, politics. Are you interested in politics or no?
I am and I'm not.
Okay.
If it were done differently, I'd be interested. If not, because I mean, I've got people running for office that are, I'm an attorney, and then I'm also a medical doctor,
right.
And then they have all these certifications, and then when you speak with them, you could have confused them for the water boy. I mean, there's just no common sense, and I prefer to have a butcher that has 35 years experience building a business, communicating with his local community, and knowing who does what, who's connected to who, knowing the ins and outs of regulation. You know, a lot of these politicians, they run for office, and then when they get the little pin, they don't understand the legislative process. I've realized that. I've talked to ex-candidates. They're complaining about why they lost. And then when you start picking their brain about the legislative process in Tallahassee, with the city, they have no idea.
Yeah.
So you went through 9 months, a year of campaigning, and at no moment did you ask yourself how it worked?
Good point. But isn't it another form of the mafia too? You mentioned how baseball. I know a lot of good people that are willing to run, but I call it the powers that be, the machine. They want this guy and not you. They will do everything they can to push this guy, even though he may not be as qualified as this guy. I mean, do you see that? Have you seen that?
All the time.
That's frustrating to me. You know, I like, for example, what's going on? Beto Sanders. That is it. Beto. What's his last name? Beto O'Rourke.
O'Rourke, yeah.
Right. I like him. He's got that energy. I like Peter, was it Dukich? What's his name? I like him. But once Joe Biden came in, todo mundo, they're all pushed aside.
Yeah.
And I don't like that. What if I don't want Biden? I was a big Sanders fan, Bernie Sanders fan. And, and the machine pushed him aside. And that's frustrating to me, and that's why
That's the
I don't
machine.
want to get involved anymore.
It's tough. It's tough, and it takes a lifetime of setting yourself up
Well,
to be able to get those.
I also think it depends on if they can control that person or not. Because remember, one person's a figurehead, and the other person may be controlling that person.
Oh, thank you, sir.
So it could be that as well. I mean, it could be somebody that they have in their pocket. They're like, we need you to go in there because you have the face, you have the charismatic attitude, and they'll listen to what you have to say.
Oh, those are good. They're very good. Good. But since now we're a little, on behalf of our sponsor, if you will, was it Eulaley's?
Oh, Eulalie, yeah.
Eulalie? We got to get Mr. Gonsmart on the show. There you go, Eulaley's. So I just want to, did you all order the same thing?
We did.
Which is the ahi tuna?
Ahi tuna.
With salad? Okay.
Same thing.
I had the chili, my favorite. It's alligator meat, really good.
Alligator meat?
Alligator
I like
meat.
alligator.
But those carrot ribbons are the best.
All right, bro. Sorry.
They're really good,
We're gonna have
man.
to take
Sorry. I'm going to meet you over.
Get some of this also.
I don't think he brought me a spoon, but that's okay. I should have said that on the show.
It's all right.
And we'll let. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Bro, tell me how you came up with the Phillies, and then I know earlier you said you started working with Mitt Romney, right? Speaking. How do you make that jump? How do you go from saying, hey, I'm not going to play baseball anymore professionally to I want to go and get into politics or something?
So I went to school for music while I was doing baseball.
That's right, you're a trumpet player.
I'm a trumpet player.
Yeah.
So I studied jazz performance, and I came to Tampa. I said, you know what? So I freelanced as a musician here. I recorded, I played a lot. Channel Side was like my home. I played there every week, all the time. Also downtown St. Pete when it was different before.
Yes.
Yeah, so I did a lot of that. And from music, just didn't make enough money. From music, I said, you know what? I need to start performing, doing other types of performance. So I worked with sales at Quest Diagnostics Laboratory. I got into sales. From there, I got into all different kinds of other sales. I got into, believe it or not, an MLM company.
Okay.
And I became top performer in West Florida.
Oh, wow.
So that's where the speaking came in. From there, I worked some time with different motivational groups.
Like Tony Robbins. You said me earlier on. Like Anthony Robbins.
Well, I got tons of friends in the Robbins network. They've helped me a lot. Guys like Scott Goss, Joshua Wenner. They're peak performance strategists with Anthony Robbins right now, as we speak, around the world. So from there, I ended up doing a lot of public speaking, a lot of consulting with small companies, teaching them how to do everything from door-to-door sales, structuring teams for sales.
I've done that. That's hard.
So I know you've done some of that stuff.
Yeah, I've done some of that.
Putting some teams together, people knocking on doors, teaching them how to navigate communities, which is why I learned a lot about the Tampa communities. And then when 2012 came along, somebody from the Republican Party saw me speaking, and they tapped me on the shoulder and said, hey, can you do exactly that, but in a political environment?
Yeah, that's cool.
All right, let's do it. So, from then on, it's just been one of my mentors is EJ Otero. I don't know if you know him.
Yeah, I know EJ. Yeah, he went for Congress 1 year. Long time ago.
Yeah, same year, 2012.
Okay.
So he's one of my mentors. He's one of the guys that's taught me a lot about politics and how it works, especially specifically local politics here in Tampa. He's really good friends with Janet Cruz. Okay. So he's a Republican. Janet Cruz is a Democrat. Right. They're very good friends. They have a lot of issues in common.
Yeah.
So it's just, and that's been my ultimate goal in Tampa is to bring the parties together to address the issues that we all care about.
Yeah, the local issues.
Yeah, the local issues that we all share.
That's really what affects us, the local issues, more so than the big government issues.
Yeah. I mean, Trump is not going to give school books, to your kid. Trump is, he's not going to take them away either. It's just like this whole issue about what is it called? The city. I forgot the name now. Sanctuary cities. Okay. Oh, it's Jane Castor. She's a Democrat. She's going to make it a sanctuary city. It's not up to her. Right. The county is the one that runs the jails, and she has absolutely no say in that. So she's not. Why ask someone a question if they're not going to
course.
That's not their issue.
Right.
So, but again, people during the campaign were pushing that. Oh, she's going to make this. She's going to do that. When it's irrelevant.
So, but if you did run county commissioner, state legislature, what would you do?
I like county commissioner. I think you're
County commissioner, right? That's what Motorhome said, right? That's where the more power is. Mm-hmm. Him and Motorhome would be great, man.
He'll be good. Yeah.
Have you met Tony Motorhome?
yeah.
Who hasn't met
Who
Tony?
doesn't know Tony?
We're cigar buddies.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
And he's a bourbon cigar guy too, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm not there yet. He's introduced me to the bourbon, just not the cigars.
Cigars. Yeah.
We should do a show on bourbons, by the way.
They go hand in hand, brother.
They do.
Listen, all kidding aside, we should do a show on bourbon. I'm serious. And talk about, we'll be responsible. We'll have Uber drive us to and from wherever it is. But just talk about the different types of bourbon.
We'll talk the whiskey cake.
Yeah.
We'll talk the whiskey cake. We'll do it at whiskey cake.
That'd be good,
And
man.
we'll do all bourbons.
See, that'd be our sponsor.
That's not a bad idea. See?
See, boom,
It's
right
just
there.
an idea. Like this show. There was an idea. I called him up and he said, "Let's do it." That was all. No naysayer. Nah.
I don't
Oh
overthink
my
it too
God.
much.
I hate negative people. It's funny you mentioned Tony Robbins. I'm old enough to remember him when he was an infomercial. Okay, where he would pay. Oh yeah. I don't know if you, Mikey. I'm 50. What one? I don't know if you're a little bit younger than I am, but he used to be on an infomercial. But it was like at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning when there was nothing else on. And I remember once I paid whatever it was to get something, his audio tape, I listened to him, and then they kept on, but at the time, I couldn't afford it, so I didn't buy anymore. But then there was a time that I was so busy with life, I never saw him again until, in the last 10 years when he picked up again.
Huge.
But I wouldn't put it past it that maybe he gave me some encouragement that I wasn't aware of back then because I was an undergrad. This would have been 95, 96, I think. No, actually before that. USF 85, 90, so 1990s when I saw him.
Yeah.
So who knows, maybe subconsciously, he planted that seed that said, you can be better than what you are now. You can do better. So I respect the guy now. I know he's had a few issues come up in here, but I respect the guy. And let me tell you, people have paid big bucks. Somebody we know, a lawyer friend of ours, paid big bucks to go see him and said, Bryant, he came out wanting to conquer the world.
Wow.
And I get that.
Awesome.
I get that. So
I was introduced to that. I used to work at a bank, and at the bank they used to make us do all these things. And I used to think it was corny at first, but once you start getting into the self-help stuff, it's so motivating, and it changes the way you think about a lot of things, man. I mean, it's
you mentioned the word fail. It's not, we don't fail. We either have a setback or we stumble or we get back up and then do it again. It's not failing. And I know you didn't mean that way. Hey, he didn't succeed in baseball.
Listen, failure would have been Marcos René come down to try out for the Phillies.
yeah.
That's the failure.
That's the failure.
Not trying. Trying and not getting it is not.
Right.
Because look where he's at now.
Right.
It helps you, deal. It's just, to me, man, that's where I think, the issue becomes, do you have the guts to just go out and do it,
Right.
and try it, and sometimes it's going to work out and sometimes not, but that's life.
Well, as long as we learn from our experiences, I mean, that's the important thing. I mean, because you're right. I mean, I've failed, but I don't think I failed because that taught me something else that made me better
Correct.
than something else.
Correct. You stumbled. I don't like the word fail.
Stumbled.
I tell my kids,
Yeah.
I hate that word. There's certain words I hate. Fail is one of them. I hate the word liar. There are liars in this world, of course, but I hate that word but fail is my biggest thing. I tell the kids, Dad, I failed. No, you didn't.
Yeah, we're good. Thank you.
Yeah, we're good. Thank you. I taught my kids from a little bit, there is no fail, we talked about this before, Eddie. I had to take the LSAT 3 times just to get into law school.
Yeah, well.
I didn't fail. I stumbled. I had a setback. I did it again, until finally I got in. So,
And you've been doing it for a long time now.
yeah, I've been blessed now 25 years. And so, I know it comes up every once in a while, but I'm studying for this New York bar thing. There's no fail.
But nowhere else at.
What's that?
Nowhere else at, though.
No, right. No, I'm good. I want to pass that and then see where that takes me, man,
Yeah, man.
And who knows, man?
And who cares about the LSAT? I mean, you're board certified. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, that's not easy. So,
Yeah, well, appreciate that.
at the end of the day, man, I mean, that's the thing. I think as long as we're all trying,
That's it.
and you're trying to keep succeeding, that's a success story in itself.
That constant forward momentum. Always be challenging yourself, which probably leads me to my next question. What advice can you give to young Latinos? I always try to ask our guests, what advice can they give to young Latinos, younger roles? So what advice do you have? And while you're doing that, let me reach for these carrot slices.
Yeah, you don't want to put the carrots in the middle. That way you can I can tax them. I don't want to reach over Mike.
Oh, you're fine. These are good. Have you had these?
I want to try them.
Oh my God, look.
I've been with the
What do they call them?
carrot ribbons.
Carrot ribbon. They're awesome.
I've been with that sauce.
Yeah, I'll try one of those.
Oh yeah, with salt?
Yeah,
They like,
After I do my 2 points.
Go ahead, sorry.
Oh, you're good.
Oh, yeah, I got it.
So my two biggest pieces of advice are one thing that Anthony Robbins always said was, if you take a chair and you put it outside and you leave it there, and you come back 2 years from now, the chair's going to be in the same place, but it's not going to be in the same condition.
No, that's the point.
So same thing happens with human beings. You might stagnate and stay in the same spot for 2 years, 3 years, but you have more energy now. You have more youth now. You have more will now. You haven't gone through as many headaches. Collectively, in 2 or 3 years, you're going to have a lot more headaches. Taxes are going to be due. Child support payments or whatever else arises. So doing things now is more important than planning to do things later. And then the other one is, and I do this in public speaking engagements, I stand someone on stage and I give them dumbbells. So I give them a 5-pound dumbbell, and I give another 5-pound dumbbell, and then I give them a weight ball and I put it here, and then I give them a little sack of sand and I put it here, and then I give them a piece of paper, I put it here, and I give them all these things. They're holding all these things, right? And they don't want to drop them. You can't drop any of them. And then I take a stack of cash, $100 bills, and I go, here you go. How do you grab this? You have to drop something you have.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't want to drop
That's good. That's
garbage
good
that
metaphor,
they
man.
have
Good
at
metaphor.
the moment. Oh, no, I can't look that way. I can't do that thing because I'm so busy doing these things. Yeah, but you're missing out on the opportunity because you're so busy holding on to bull crap
I love that.
it's not
That's
important.
I love that. It's funny. Mike will tell you that for years, I wrote a book, and I was worried before the book even came out. He'll tell you, I was worried, what are people going to think when the book comes out? There was a couple of people, I have critics, to this day I have critics, and I already anticipated what they were going to do and say. And sure enough, when it came out, they did and said what I expect them to do. But he was like, who gives a crap what they say or do? But at the end of the day, it wasn't just about that, but it was also about purging them. I purged them. I blocked them from Facebook. They were constantly being negative. And guess what? Now I don't care. And so when they were criticizing my book or criticize me or other people, I don't have to see it anymore. So it's not there for me to bother. So I like that analogy, just purging. Get rid of that negativity, the people, the things that are bringing you down. Just get rid of it, man. Well, get rid of it.
If you hang out with successful people, you start becoming successful. I mean, it's true. I mean, it's fun. Our parents have been saying that forever. It's vanished.
It's a byproduct. I mean,
And growing up, we don't understand that, but it is true. I mean, completely true.
Yeah, there's one story that, again, the Robbins Network talks about. When you go to the beach, you play with your kids, but before you get in the car, you wash everything off. I mean, you're like surgical precision. You wash all the sand off. You get in your car, you get home, you leave your stuff outside, you walk in by yourself, buck naked, because you don't want to get any sand in your house, okay? So you walk into the shower, you turn the shower on, you let the water run on you, you look at the floor, what's on the floor?
Sand.
No matter how much you try, whatever you associate with, you're going to take some home.
Yeah, it makes sense.
No matter how much you
I
try.
like that.
Yeah.
No matter how much you try.
But if you
We tried.
take off your clothes outside and you get arrested, these guys can help you out.
Then you got to call.
There's a problem there.
Yeah, if you're naked, sure. That's hilarious, man. So those 2 bits of advice to Latinos as well, or there's something extra for Latinos? Because don't you think that Latinos,
Fear. Latinos have fear. It's just.
are they good?
Latinos have fear of losing what they have, and they love to keep up with the Joneses. It's like I have friends of mine that would live in a little trailer. They're paying $300 a month, but they have like a 70-inch TV.
Yeah, right.
Gas priorities, man.
Yeah. And then there's a Mercedes parked outside. A white Mercedes. And this is a true story. White Mercedes, 70-inch TV. Well, they live in a little. It's like, I don't know how. And it's rent and it's falling apart and the landlord's not doing anything. It's like, dude, you need to priorities. You know, you need to let go of some of what you are in love with.
Good point.
I met this guy. It'll be funny if we know the same person, because he had a house, wife, kids, and everything. He wanted to buy himself a white Mercedes, S-Class Mercedes, and again, this guy was not, regular job, nothing wrong with him. He bought a white S-Class Mercedes, and he had to forcefully move to the trailers. He sold his home, he couldn't afford his house, and it was stupid because it was actually where the airport bought, so they could have sold it for a lot of money. Whatever, he moved to the trailer and 3 lakes, because now we can have the Mercedes in the front and say he has a Mercedes, where his family suffered. So it's a mentality, man. Like,
Let me tell you, when my wife and I were newlyweds, undergrad, I drove when I went to law school, I should say, I had a Toyota Tacoma, no air conditioning, no radio, and no bumper. Because my car payment was $160 a month.
wow.
Not that I probably could have afforded a little bit more, but I didn't want to. I wanted to make the bare minimum so that I could focus. My wife didn't have to work as hard to support me while I was in my first year of law school. We had no cable. I think we had no TV. And then even after I got married, after I graduated from law school, I got my first job as a prosecutor. No cable. I was driving a Toyota Corolla that I drove up until maybe 15 years ago when I finally went into private practice. So the 10 years I spent as a prosecutor, I drove a Corolla. And it was a dependable car. My car payment was a couple $100 a month.
Yeah.
Again, I probably could have afforded a little bit more, but I didn't want to have to sacrifice the quality of life that my wife and I had, the little bit that we had. So I agree with you. I like that. So you're saying that so con Latinos, you're saying that they may be a little bit more of their really.
You see it over and over. I mean, when you're in that community so often, you see them. Oh, I'm going to go see Bad Bunny on Saturday.
But I can't pay my rent.
I know the tickets. I know the promoter. Bad Bunny's booking agent is my friend. I don't know if you know Frankie Rodriguez.
Oh, not at all.
He's from Tampa. He's living in Miami now. He's got Bad Bunny. He's got Mark Anthony. He's got Daddy Yankee. Like, these are his artists that he booked for. I know that as soon as he says, "Hey, we got a show here. We got a show here," he tells us what the ticket prices are. Here's the cheapest ticket price. It's $85. Here's the most expensive one, and it's $4,000. And then these guys, when you see their rows, I'm like, no, these are a couple $100 tickets. How are you poor? Say you're poor. You don't have money for this, you don't have money for that, you complain about your job. Yeah. But you're going to see, it's a priority thing, you know?
Well, listen, I mean, I go through it, and I had to check myself too growing up, because I went of having hardly no money growing up, and then I opened up the doctor's office, and then I made a lot of money, and I say it over and over, I was hood rich for a while. Like, I spent $1,000 a day on a whole bunch of things that we can't talk about, right? So the point is that because I wanted to buy everything I couldn't afford, everything I wanted, and then life taught me lessons from that, I'm like, okay, maybe I shouldn't do that. Maybe I should save more. Maybe I should invest in more. Because I mean, imagine I was from $7.15 an hour, and then I was making, it got to a point I was making $65,000, $75,000 a month. And I'm 23, 24 years old.
Yeah.
So I mean, it does something to you, right. and you want to buy everything you never had, right. And that's a curse all within itself. So
money is a motivator to what your brain is already aligned to do. If you're aligned to screw up your life, money's going to help you do that much faster.
yeah.
Interesting.
If your alignment is to help people, money's going to help you do that much faster. So it's all about your alignment. And I always tell people, 2 millimeters off here is hundreds of meters
a bridge?
off. Down down the
Yeah, a bridge being built. Yeah, one kiss.
If you're shooting an arrow from here, you might be off this much. 3-4 years down the line, you're yards away from where you thought you wanted to be.
That's great, man.
Good stuff, man.
I gotta go to court 1:30, so
Yeah.
do we always end it with a salute?
All right, go. Vamos, salud ahí. With a cup of
I don't
water.
know. Water's not. I don't think it's.
Bueno, salud, salud.
Salud.